Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erica with Memory Box Candle Co. And I make videos all about the journey of starting a candle business. And obviously with the background, you can tell I am in a new place, kind of. So we kind of did a little switch in our apartment. So we live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and for the longest time we have had our living room, our dining room, and everything in that whole area be our candle workshop and candle studio. And I just kind of got really sick of just living in the workshop constantly, and I've just always wanted things to be separated. So we decided to make the move a couple days ago and switch all of the candle stuff into our bedroom, and then now we have our bedroom out in the living room. So essentially it's kind of now like a studio apartment with an extra workshop bedroom. So that's why things are different, but let's go ahead and get on to today's topic. So to say that I've learned a lot in the past 3 years with my business is kind of an understatement. All of the ups and downs that I've gone through with different obstacles that I faced and things that I've tried. And one of the main things that has kind of stood out over time has been my candle making kits. So I released my candle making kits, I believe it was last January of 2022. And I had been working on it for about a year before that. That was something that I had been working on behind the scenes. And with this whole process of creating these candle making kits and launching them, I learned a lot about what not to do and what I should be doing when it comes to expanding in my business. And that is what I wanted to share with you in today's video. So at first I wanted to title this video something like "That was a total failure" or something like that, but when I really thought about it, my candle making kits were not a total failure. I definitely made money on them. I definitely made my money back on the investment, but it just ended up not being quite what I thought they were going to be. I thought that they were going to sell a lot more frequently. I thought that a lot more people were going to be interested in them. And it just kind of got me thinking, what can I take away from that? What can I take away from that experience? And what have I learned that I can then share with you that hopefully when you're thinking about expanding in your business or adding on more products, hopefully you can do the things that I should have done when I was wanting to expand in this way. Now, I will say, Chris and I are actually going to be discontinuing these candle making kits. We have 6 left on the website, and as soon as those 6 are gone, we are done with selling them. I do still have some supplies left over, and I'm going to figure out what I want to do with them. I still do have some of the Evermore jars down in the garage, and I was thinking about just for a limited time having them available for sale on my website, like actually make candles out of them, make them kind of, a limited edition, larger size candles. I may do the 3 most popular fragrances that I sell on my website. I'm thinking about offering that in these larger jars because I know that those are the ones that sell more frequently, and a lot of people might be really interested to get a much larger size of their favorite scent. So I think that is how I'm going to use those up. But the main reason why I wanted to share this with you is to always share when I am feeling like, man, I could have done so much better at that. And of course, at the time, I didn't exactly know what I should have been doing when I was creating something like this, because as I've mentioned in previous videos, when I am letting you know and telling you when you're creating your own candle business that you need to figure out who your target market is. And because I am kind of split between, I have all of you on YouTube, that most of you that watch me are your own candle business owners and you like to get information from me. And then I have my customers that are not candle business owners and they just like to purchase from me. So when I was creating these candle making kits, I tried to create something that could be for both of those target markets. And I really advertised and wanted this to be something that could be for anybody and everybody that has ever wanted to make a candle or who are interested in candle making. And looking back now, I realize that that was kind of the epitome of, if you try to sell to everybody, you end up selling to nobody. And of course, it's not that I didn't end up selling to anybody. I did sell a lot of these candle making kits, but I just realized that maybe it ended up being not exactly what I was looking for, and it didn't end up being this all-encompassing, perfect for anybody kind of candle making kit like I wanted it to in the beginning. So I think that my first mistake when I first thought about making a candle making kit was that I really wanted to be able to offer a candle making kit that had soy 10 in it, because I had never seen a candle making kit that had soy 10, and that's personally the wax that I like to use and work with. So I knew that I wanted to have that inside of the candle making kits. But I also wanted it to kind of have everything. I wanted it to basically be to where you can open it up and you need very little supplies in order to make the candles, which of course drove the cost up a lot to be able to have all of these different materials in there. And I spent months and months and months sourcing all of these separate supplies that went into this candle making kit, figuring out dimensions, figuring out weight, figuring out sizes of jars, figuring out exactly what was going to be the easiest for everybody to make these candles, who won't need a scale to measure out the fragrance oil. So that's why I just added in the actual 1 ounce bottles of fragrance oil into each of these candle making kits. Because of the ratio of wax in there, all you needed to do was just pour in the fragrance oil into there, and it would be exactly what you needed. So I was trying to think ahead on everything, but the main problem, the main mistake that I made in this entire process was I didn't get feedback from my community. I didn't get feedback from my YouTube subscribers, my Instagram followers, my actual customers via email. I didn't get any kind of feedback. I wanted it to be this big surprise that I was then going to announce and have it be like this big, huge thing, because I'm such a big surprise person. But also, I realized that when you're running a business, you don't want surprises. You want to get your customers engaged and in the know of what you're working on, because that's how you're going to know if you're going to create a product that is a need and something that people actually want. And that is something that I really want to get across in this video, is that if you are wanting to experiment with different scents or experiment with a new product, you have to ask your market and your customers if this is something that they want and something that they're wanting to buy. I understand wanting to have that kind of surprise element to it if you're somebody like me who's just kind of wanting to bring on these new things and have it be exciting and all that kind of stuff. And I really had learned a lot in this process that when you're running a business, you don't need to have surprises. You need to make sure that you are communicating with who you're going to be selling to make sure that those people are actually going to want to buy that from you. Had I discussed this ahead of time, maybe I could have made a candle making kit that could have just been for people that are looking to get started in the candle making business. Or I could have just made a kit that is that would be like the perfect gift for, let's say, a mother and daughter to make candles together on Mother's Day or something like that. And I feel like I would have gone about it a little differently. And because I wanted to include everything in the box and have like the most highest quality materials as possible, it definitely drove up the cost. So I understand why there's definitely some people that look at that and they're like, I don't want to spend $100 on a candle making kit. So I know that probably the price came into play when it came to actually selling it as well. And also the fact that I really did not promote it. I know I talked about this in a previous video as well, but I really was not good at marketing or talking about it. I just kind of had it on my website, and then with everything else I was doing, it just kind of slipped my mind and I never promoted it. So I think that there's a lot of things that go into when you're releasing a product, a new product, whether that's a new scent or a completely new product on your website, that you have to make sure that it's, one, something that people are going to actually want and buy, and two, that you're actually marketing and talking about it. Because if there's anything that I've learned when it comes to marketing, it's that you have to talk about it. I'm amazed at when I actually post on social media, when I actually post on Instagram, the amount of sales that I get. It was just yesterday, I decided to write a whole post on Instagram and just share kind of my thoughts and just a little fun fact and all that kind of stuff. And I ended up making $130 in sales, in online sales. And it just kind of is just like, yeah, if you're putting yourself out there in front of people and they're like, oh yeah, I forgot about you. I need some candles. I'm going to look at your website again. And then they find something that they like. So if you're not talking about it, then nobody's ever going to know about it. And that's another thing that I kind of had the realization of, is that the whole process, the whole way I went about these candle making kits was completely wrong. And I'm not hard on myself over it. I understand that I learned so much. I learned so much in that process. I mean, a year working on something. And for me to be able to work on something that long and finish it is crazy. I'm not somebody who is very good at starting a task and finishing it. I will have 10 different open tasks and projects that I'm working on, and like maybe I'll finish some of them, but more than likely everything is just kind of undone, and that's just who I am. But when it came to this was something that I'm like, you know what, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to figure this out, figure out talking to these suppliers, negotiating, figuring out getting samples, all this kind of stuff that I was figuring out. So there was a lot that I learned in this process. And I know that I'm going to take everything that I learned from that experience and implement it into my business, because I really already have been doing that. I've been able to look at my business and be like, okay, what is going to be the most efficient way for me to scale my business, and the quickest, fastest, most efficient way to do it. And the way that I figured it out was get rid of the scents that aren't selling. I need to narrow down scents that are actually the ones that are selling. I need to get rid of products that are barely making me any money, but they're taking up space, which was the room sprays, and also the candle making kits. These candle making kits are extremely tedious to put together. I have never really ever done something this tedious before. You may think, candle making and all that, it can be a little tedious. With these candle making kits, extremely tedious, very time consuming, very tedious, to the point where the only way that I figured out how to get the wax inside of the candle making kits, which each jar had to have a specific weight of wax in it. And I was able to use soap molds in order to pour the regular soy 10. So I would melt down the soy 10, pour it into these soap molds, let it harden. But if you know anything about candle making, you know everything's based on weight. It's not volume. And you can't get the exact kind of pour on every single soap mold. So they all weigh a little bit different. So then you had to basically mix and match and pick 4 blocks that equaled the exact amount of weight that you needed. And it was just a very tedious process. And I just remember telling Chris, and we've agreed on this together, of just kind of like, let's just sell what we have and be able, and then just kind of get rid of them. And yeah, it's sad, but it's also, again, something that I'm just taking as a learning lesson. And my business is going to change. I have no idea in the next 5 years how much is going to change with this business. I could completely add on new jars. I have no idea what's going to actually happen in my business. So I have to be okay with all of these changes that's going to happen, and, be okay with experimenting with something like that and learning from it, because there's no way that I can go into business and be able to make the exact right decision every single time from the very beginning. It's just not possible. You're going to make mistakes, and you're going to learn them and really take what you learned and apply it later on in your business. But anyways, that is what I wanted to talk about in today's video. I really hope that you learned something, you learned from my mistakes, and just kind of enjoyed this chat about what I've learned and how I'm going to make changes in the future for my business. But with that, I'm going to end today's video right here. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave it a big thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, don't forget to follow me over on Instagram at Memory Box Candle Co. And I will see you in my next video.